Okay, we're going to learn how to do long division of polynomials. So remember, a polynomial is an expression or an equation where there's more than one term. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. It's a third degree polynomial. So remember, that means that there are 3 solutions. Okay, and we're going to divide this polynomial by this binomial, 4x plus 5. So to do that, if you'll remember, you may have remembered a long time ago how to do division. So I'm going to go off and just show you. If I take 457 and I divide that by, say, 3. 3 goes into 4 once. We subtract, bring down the 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Subtract, bring down the 7. 3 goes into 7 twice. 6. And then remember, we take the remainder and put it over our divisor. So we got 1/3. So 152 and 1/3. Now we do this process similarly. So we're going to take 4x cubed. Okay, and we're going to divide that. So we're going to do a dividing symbol. And we're going to divide it by 4x plus 5. Okay, so this is the way you do this. So you take your first term and you ask yourself, well, how many 4x's will go into 4x cubed? Well, 4 goes into 4 one time. X times what is x cubed? So x times x squared. So we have 4x times x squared gives us 4x cubed. We want these to match because we're going to end up subtracting and canceling them. So that's always important. This times this needs to be able to give you the first term. Okay, let's continue. So we took this times this and got this. Now we're going to take the 5 times x squared and we're going to get 5x squared. These do not need to match, but these powers need to be the same. So these cancel. So we have negative 7x squared minus 5x squared, which is negative 12x squared. And just like how we brought down the next term, we bring down the next term here. Okay, now we just want these to 4x times what will give us negative 12x squared. So that's going to give us negative 3. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then x times x will give us x squared. And then 5 times negative 3x is negative 15x. And then we subtract. So these cancel out. Negative 11 minus negative 15 is going to give us 4x. Bring down the last term. Okay, so 4x times what will give us 4x? Well, that's just going to be 1, positive 1, so we put plus. So 4x times 1 is 4x, and then 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract, cancels, cancels, so our remainder is 0. So what that tells us when we have a remainder of 0, that tells us that this 4x plus 5 goes into this polynomial evenly. That means that 4x plus 5 is a factor. So 4x plus 5 times x squared minus 3x plus 1. So this times this is equal to this. Just like 3 times 152 1/3 gives us 457. Okay? Now, I want this completely in factored, so notice that these are factors. These two multiplied together will give us this polynomial. So I want to make sure this is completely factored out. So now that I have a quadratic, I can go ahead and try factoring this to see if I can factor it down any further. So 1 times 1 is 1, negative 3 on the bottom. Anything I can multiply to get 1 and add to get negative 3. So let's see. Let's try 2 times, nope, that's not going to work. Doesn't appear that this is factorable. Okay, so it's not factorable, so this is in factored form. Factored form. All right, and that's how you do long division. Now, if you come out with a remainder, what you need to do is the same thing we did in this simple problem. Just for an example, if this had come out to be a 2, okay, then you would put this, and then you would put 2 over this, just like we did this. We did 1 over 3. We would put the remainder over this expression right here as a remainder of our answer. Okay? All right, well, I'm going to keep this short. There's one example, and I'll probably do another example in class for y'all. Have a good night.